boxer laughed so loud the bag work around him faltered, leather thuds missing a beat, chains swaying without impact. He looked at Bruce's bare hands and said, bright with amusement, "You serious? No gloves?" The laugh wasn't rage, it was worse. The kind of humor that makes a room choose sides before anyone throws a punch. The Los Angeles gym was old enough to have its own weather, low ceiling, lamps under dented shades casting warm circles on scuffed concrete. The air carried layered smells, leather that had soaked up years of sweat, talc dust hanging in the lights, metal from plates and bars, the faint bite of liniment rubbed into shoulders that never fully healed. Ropes on the ring creaked whenever someone leaned on them, a tired sound like an old ship settling. Men kept training in the background, but the laughter cut the rhythm. A heavy bag swung once, then slowed. A jump rope ticked twice, then stopped. Eyes lifted in pieces, quick glances that pretended not to be curious. Bruce stood off to the side, not dressed like a boxer. No satin shorts, no taped wrists, just calm. His posture didn't ask for attention, yet it pulled it the way still water pulls light. The boxer, broad, thick-necked, gloves already on, tilted his head, smiling wider for the audience. He made sure the words carried. "You came in here to get your hands broke." A couple of guys chuckled. Someone near the weights muttered, "Man's gonna learn today." A coach at the far end glanced over and didn't step in. Not approval, not condemnation, just silence that functioned like a door left unlocked. Bruce's face didn't harden. His eyes did something else. They cataloged. The boxer's shoulders sat high, even while he grinned. Jaw clenched behind the humor. The laugh was a flag planted for the room, proof of rank. Bruce studied the man's stance without staring, front foot eager, weight tipping forward as if the floor owed him distance. He saw a fighter who trusted his gloves the way some men trust a badge, as protection and as permission. Bruce lowered his gaze to his own hands, not with embarrassment, but with the attention of a craftsman checking tools. Knuckles unwrapped, fingers relaxed, then closed once, feeling tendon glide and joint alignment. Skin that had learned contact without padding. The boxer noticed and laughed again, softer this time, to keep control. Look at him. He's admiring his little hands. The room answered with scattered sound, then quickly quieted, as if everyone realized something had changed. The absence of music became noticeable. The bag chains stopped clinking. Even the ring ropes seemed to hold still. Bruce finally spoke. His voice was low enough that people leaned without realizing they leaned. "Gloves are fine," he said. The boxer blinked, not expecting agreement. Bruce's eyes lifted, steady, unreadable. Dependence isn't. A hush spread, wider than the ring. The boxer's smile stayed on his face, but it thinned at the edges. He took a half step closer, letting the gloves rise a little, as if the conversation had turned physical without either of them declaring it. "You here to teach us boxing?" he asked, still joking. Too late. Bruce didn't defend himself. He didn't explain. He simply held the boxer's gaze, calm in a room full of men who lived on noise. "No," Bruce said. "I'm here to understand what people hide behind." And the last word landed like a glove dropped on canvas, soft, final, impossible to ignore. The truth was, Bruce had been walking into gyms like this for months, not as a tourist, not as a challenger, but like a man checking the grain of wood before he builds with it. Boxing rooms, wrestling mats, judo dojos. He wanted timing you couldn't fake, distance you couldn't argue with, rhythm that exposed your habits the moment you breathed wrong. He was tired of being tested and tired of needing the test anyway. Every new place came with the same unspoken question. What are you doing here, and who gave you permission? In America, an Asian man without gloves read as either arrogant or scared. The middle ground didn't exist. And Bruce understood the language of rooms, how quickly they decide what you are. The boxer in front of him wasn't a random loudmouth. His shoulders were built by rounds, not vanity. Amateur fights, the kind that leave your nose a little crooked and your confidence sharp. His gloves weren't just protection, they were proof, status, a way to say, I belong here. So Bruce's bare hands weren't simply different. To the boxer, they were a rejection of the world he'd earned. A coach finally spoke from near the ring post, voice practical, almost bored. If you're going to stand in here, do it right. Light round, put the gloves on. A few heads nodded. That was the script. Glove up, comply, become readable. Someone at the back muttered, "He won't last a minute." Another answered, "He'll fold as soon as he gets touched." Bruce didn't react to the predictions. He reached for his left wrist and unfastened his watch with slow fingers, setting it on a bench as if placing something fragile. Then, he slipped a simple ring from his hand and laid it beside the watch. Not ceremony, responsibility. A quiet sign. I'm not here to injure or be injured by accident. He rotated his wrists gently, almost lazily, rolling each joint as if loosening a door hinge rather than preparing for impact. The contrast made the boxer's grin falter. It's unsettling when someone doesn't match your tempo. You scared of bruising your jewelry? The boxer said, but the joke landed softer than before. Bruce looked up. His expression wasn't cold. It was focused, like a man listening for a hidden note in a familiar song. Light, the coach repeated, more firmly now. Keep it friendly. Bruce gave a small nod. Contact is fine, he said. The boxer lifted his gloves, expecting the next word to be surrender. Bruce didn't give it. But not the costume. A ripple moved through the gym, half laughter, half irritation. The coach's eyes narrowed, measuring whether this was disrespect or something stranger. You want in the ring bare knuckle? The coach asked. I want honesty, Bruce answered, still quiet. Gloves change what people trust. Inside, the thought sharpened into a single line. He trusts the padding more than his own awareness. The boxer's jaw tightened behind the smile. For him, this wasn't philosophy. It was a threat to the order of things. All right, the coach said after a beat, voice low. 1 round. Control. If it gets ugly, it's done. The room seemed to inhale together. The heavy bags, the ropes, the weights, all of it faded into the background as men drifted closer, not like an audience hungry for entertainment, but like witnesses who knew a small mistake could turn expensive. The boxer leaned in, voice dropping, amusement now edged with caution. You're going to regret this. Bruce's reply wasn't a taunt. It wasn't even a challenge. It was a statement spoken like a man setting terms with himself. I'll regret lying more, he said, and in the sudden quiet that followed, the ring ropes creaked, one slow complaint, as if the gym itself understood something was about to be revealed. Someone killed the music. It wasn't announced, it simply vanished, and the gym's real sounds rushed in to fill the space, breathing, the faint squeak of sneakers, the ring ropes creaking when a man leaned his forearms over the top strand. One by one, the heavy bags stopped moving, like pendulums deciding to rest. The ring became the center of gravity. The boxer climbed through the ropes in gloves, shoulders loose, chin tucked, that small, rolling bounce in his knees that comes from hundreds of rounds. He flashed a quick smile to the men around him, the kind that says, "Watch this." His confidence wasn't fake. It was trained. Bruce stepped in after him with nothing on his hands, no taped wrists, no formal guard. He looked almost relaxed, arms hanging with a natural bend, as if he'd wandered onto the canvas by mistake. The contrast made it feel dangerous. Don't do anything stupid, the coach warned from below, but his tone carried curiosity now. The boxer circled left, light on the front foot. Bruce didn't mirror in a boxer's rhythm. His feet slid, not lifting high, staying close to the canvas as if friction mattered more than speed. He kept his hands low, an insult in this world, a psychological hook that made the other man want to punish him for it. The first jab came out fast and clean, not full power, a probe. Shoulder twitched, glove snapped forward, backhand guarding the cheek. It was a test. Do you flinch? Do you panic? Do you run? Bruce didn't retreat down the line like a beginner. He angled. A small turn of his torso happened before the jab arrived, and his lead hand made a short, precise movement, more a touch than a parry, guiding the glove past his face by a fraction. The jab missed clean, not because the boxer was slow, but because Bruce had stepped into a space the jab wasn't meant to cover. The boxer's smile thinned. He jabbed again, sharper. Bruce's feet slid again, quiet, economical, his heel never slapping. Another short take of the glove at the wrist line. Not a block, a removal. "Stop running," the boxer muttered through his mouthpiece, irritation leaking out. "I'm not running," Bruce answered calmly. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't raise his hands. The boxer threw a second jab, then a quick right behind it, widening the combination to force a reaction. Bruce's body turned early, hips and shoulders shifting together so the punches found air. He stayed close enough to be offensive, yet refused to be where the boxer wanted him. It felt like trying to hit a door that opened a moment before your fist landed. Breathing in the boxer's chest grew louder. His shoulders climbed a little higher between shots. The gloves started to do more work than his feet, and Bruce saw it, the creeping reliance. From the apron, one of the trainers leaned to the coach and spoke just loud enough to be heard by the men closest. "He's not punching. He's steering." The boxer heard it too. His eyes narrowed. He stepped in more directly, trying to close distance the way boxing teaches, straight, decisive, shoulders forward. Bruce let him come. He didn't counter. He didn't win exchanges. He simply kept erasing clean contact, and the absence began to torment the boxer more than a sharp hit would have. "You think you're clever?" the boxer hissed. Bruce's gaze stayed on the man's chest, reading weight shifts, the tiny lift of the shoulder before each jab. "He's fast," Bruce assessed, "steady as a metronome. But he doesn't see the sides." The boxer launched again, a hard jab meant to break the pattern. Bruce's hand flicked, wrist loose, and the glove slid past as if pulled by gravity. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't laugh anymore. They were watching two men argue with timing, one with force, one with control, and the ring ropes creaked softly under the weight of their attention. The boxer's patience snapped like a frayed rope. He sped up, jab, cross, hook, wider now, heavier, trying to drown the problem in volume. His gloves whistled through the warm air. The canvas thudded under his feet as he chased the clean shot he'd been promised by habit. Bruce felt the shift the moment it happened, frustration tightening the shoulders, breath turning sharp, the rhythm turning hungry. Control had become a demand, and demands create openings. The boxer stepped in too straight, weight pouring onto the front leg. His left shoulder rose for the jab, telegraphed now, because he wanted it to land, not because it was the right moment. Bruce didn't backpedal. He moved against the logic the room expected. A short step forward and offline, barely a slide, put him at the boxer's outside angle. Not far. Close. Close enough that the glove could no longer accelerate. Bruce's lead hand brushed the jab aside with a small rotation at the wrist, almost gentle. At the same time, his body entered early, before the second punch could stack behind the first. His rear hand formed a compact shape, not a swinging strike, and drove a tight, controlled contact into the solar plexus as the boxer exhaled. It wasn't a knockout. It was a sudden theft. Air shot out of the boxer's lungs with an ugly, involuntary sound. His knees softened. The glove that had been so sure a second ago dipped without permission. His eyes widened, not from pain, but from the shock of his own body failing to obey his plan. The gym went utterly still. No applause, no jeers. Men stared, trying to locate the exact moment it happened, because it looked too simple to be real. A heavy bag in the corner swung once, then settled, as if even it didn't want to interrupt. The boxer took half a step back, chest rising in uneven pulls. He swallowed, jaw clenched, the earlier laughter nowhere in his face now. Bruce didn't press him. He let the distance open again. His hands relaxed at his sides, showing the room he wasn't hunting embarrassment. He was showing a point. When he spoke, it was quiet, almost respectful, and it carried because the gym had stopped making noise. "I'm not against gloves," Bruce said. "I'm against depending on them." The boxer held his gaze, breathing gradually smoothing. Something in him shifted, pride resisting, then giving way to recognition. He reached up and slowly began tugging at the glove strap. Not rage, not showmanship, a choice. Leather creaked as he pulled one glove free, then the other. He set them on the edge of the ring like objects that suddenly felt heavier than before. The coach below the ropes blew out a breath he'd been holding and said, low and honest, "Without gloves, that was more dangerous and more truthful." A man near the weights leaned forward, eyes narrowed, voice almost reverent. "Can you do that again? Slow?" Bruce nodded once. He stepped closer to the boxer, not like an opponent now, but like a craftsman beside another craftsman, ready to explain a hinge. The boxer flexed his bare fingers, feeling skin on air, and gave a small, embarrassed smile. Nothing like the earlier laugh. "Show me where I lost it," he said. Bruce pointed to the boxer's front foot. "Right there," he answered, soft. "You trusted the padding. You stopped, listening." The boxer looked down, then back up. In the silence, respect had replaced spectacle. The room didn't clap, because it didn't feel like a performance anymore. It felt like a lesson the body would remember long after pride forgot to argue.